The world stood still as history was made in St. Peter's Square. Millions of people gathered, their faces filled with anticipation, watching the towering balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. The entire square, a sea of faces from every corner of the world, held its breath. This was no ordinary moment. The fate of the Catholic Church was about to change forever. The passing of Pope Francis had left a void, and now the College of Cardinals had made their decision. After days of deliberation, the moment of truth had arrived. As the crowd waited, the silence was thick, and the weight of history hung in the air. Their hearts raced, knowing that the next pope would carry with them the legacy of 2,000 years of Catholic tradition. The solemnity was palpable. The air was filled with the energy of millions, all hoping for a leader who would guide the Church with wisdom, compassion, and humility. The decision was made, and the identity of the new pope would soon be revealed. A shepherd of the people. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle's journey. From the bustling streets of Manila to the grand halls of the Vatican, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle's journey had been one marked by humility, compassion, and service. Born into modest circumstances in Manila, Tagle's life was never about self-promotion or prestige. His path to the Vatican was paved with service to the poor, the marginalized, and the voiceless. As a young priest in the slums of Manila, he dedicated his life to helping those in need, always with an unwavering belief in social justice and human dignity. Tagle's ministry resonated far beyond his native Philippines. His advocacy for the poor and his commitment to equality and human rights were central to his mission. His voice was one of unity, calling for a world where compassion, justice, and understanding were at the forefront. It wasn't just his words that caught attention, but his actions as well. Throughout his career, Tagle embodied the values of humility and service, earning him respect and admiration across the globe. Inside the Sistine Chapel, the sacred conclave. The conclave that chose Cardinal Tagle as the next pope took place in one of the most sacred places on earth, the Sistine Chapel. Here, amidst the awe-inspiring frescoes painted by Michelangelo, the cardinals gathered. The atmosphere was thick with reverence, as the princes of the church came together to choose the man who would lead them. The conclave was a time of prayer, reflection, and deep deliberation. The doors of the chapel closed and the cardinals were cut off from the outside world. They prayed for guidance, for the wisdom to choose the right leader who would guide the church through tumultuous times. Days passed, each moment more intense than the last. The world waited for a sign, for a clue that the decision had been made. Finally, a plume of smoke rose from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel. At first it was black, a sign that the cardinals had not yet come to a conclusion. But then, a change. White smoke poured into the sky. The moment had arrived. The crowd in St. Peter's Square erupted in a collective gasp. The new pope had been chosen. Whispers of Habemus Papam, the moment of revelation. The moment had arrived. The balcony doors of St. Peter's Basilica opened, and the senior cardinal deacon, Cardinal Jean-Claude Hollerich, stepped forward. His voice rang out across the square, declaring the words that would go down in history. Annuncio vobis gaudium magnum, habemus papam. I announce to you with great joy, we have a pope. As he uttered the name, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, the crowd exploded with joy. This was a moment that would be remembered for generations. The people knew they had just witnessed something truly extraordinary, a new era for the Catholic Church and the first Asian pope in history. Tagle's name echoed across the square, a symbol of hope and pride for millions. His election marked a new chapter in the Church's story, one that many hoped would bring fresh perspectives and renewed energy to an institution facing numerous challenges. From the bustling streets of Manila to the far corners of the world, people celebrated, not just for the man who had been chosen, but for the message his election sent to the entire globe. Asia rejoices. From Manila to Mumbai, a continent celebrates across Asia, people erupted in celebration. From Manila to Mumbai, a wave of joy spread like wildfire. The news of Cardinal Tagle's election as Pope sparked a continent-wide celebration. In the Philippines, where Tagle was beloved, church bells rang in jubilation, their sound echoing through the streets, calling people to rejoice in this historic moment. The celebration wasn't confined to the cities. Even the smallest villages joined in, as Filipinos took to the streets to dance, sing, and celebrate the extraordinary achievement of one of their own. But it wasn't just the Philippines. Across Asia, people came together in a united celebration of pride and joy. In Mumbai, the streets were alive with the sounds of drums and incense filled the air. The atmosphere in Bangkok was electric, as lanterns illuminated the night sky, casting a warm golden glow over the throngs of jubilant people. In Seoul, the streets were lined with smiling faces, filled with happiness for their fellow Asians, who had reached the highest point of religious leadership in the Catholic Church. The news spread quickly through the continent. In Tokyo, in Kathmandu, in the temples of Bhutan, people gathered to mark this momentous occasion. The celebration wasn't just for Catholics. It was a moment of unity that transcended religious boundaries. People from all walks of life, all faiths, came together in joy. It was a testament to the universal appeal of this new pope, whose roots in Asia made his election a beacon of hope and pride for millions. A global chorus of congratulations. A new leader for the world. The news of Cardinal Tagle's election as pope was met with congratulations from every corner of the globe. World leaders from Washington to Moscow, from Beijing to Brasilia, sent their well wishes. There was a sense of solidarity, a recognition of the moral authority that the papacy carries. Religious leaders from across different denominations also reached out to offer their congratulations, acknowledging the significance of this moment. The Archbishop of Canterbury, the Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople, and leaders from other faiths extended their messages of goodwill. This was not just a victory for the Catholic Church. It was a moment that brought the world together. People from different cultures, religions, and backgrounds celebrated the election of a man who symbolized hope, humility, and the potential for peace and cooperation in a divided world. A new dawn for the Catholic Church, challenges and opportunities ahead. As Pope Tagle ascended to the papacy, a new era began for the Catholic Church. His election was more than a change of leadership. It was a symbol of transformation. The challenges facing the Church were immense, from the scandalous abuse cases to declining attendance and the rise of secularism. The Catholic Church needed a leader who could navigate these turbulent waters. But Pope Tagle's message of humility, compassion, and social justice brought hope to millions. Pope Tagle's papacy would not be defined solely by the Church's internal issues. It would be shaped by the challenges facing the world. Climate change, poverty, conflict, and growing divisions between cultures and religions were all issues that demanded moral leadership. Pope Tagle, with his background in working with the poor and marginalized, was poised to bring a unique perspective to these global issues. His early speeches emphasized social justice, the need for global cooperation, and the importance of interfaith dialogue. His leadership style was one that focused on inclusion, on bringing together people from all walks of life. The world needed a pope who would not only address the spiritual needs of the faithful, but also offer guidance on how to address the pressing issues of the day. Would Pope Tagle champion causes such as climate change? Would he take a stand on issues of economic inequality? His actions in the coming months and years would show whether he could balance the ancient traditions of the Church with the realities of the modern world. A legacy forged in faith and humility. As Pope Tagle began his papacy, the world watched